Hey friends. So I had an interesting morning because I woke up. I think I spoke yesterday about feeling some heaviness over the last couple days, 2 mornings or so, and then this morning again. And I woke up, kind of had this, and I felt my mind. It was like gravity pulling it towards sadness. And so I did my kind of physical morning yoga qigong routine, and I walked to the kitchen to get a glass of water, and I look out the window and I'm like, whoa, that looks like a full moon. Wonder if it's a full moon. So I check my Star Walk app. Sure enough, it's a full moon. And I realized, oh my God, 1 month ago, literally one moon cycle ago, I had this same experience. I felt the kind of like an odd, or seemingly odd, maybe not that odd, but seemingly not due to circumstances kind of energy. And I spoke about this last month too, where I said it was kind of unsettling to feel that, and to then see the full moon and go, oh right, the full moon just enhances what's already kind of in us. And so it was so seeing it again, witnessing that happening again today, it was kind of like, ooh, okay, becoming more and more undeniable. I mean, what did I say a minute ago? Gravity, like the gravity of certain emotions. We're literally talking about gravity, like literally talking about the gravity of the moon drawing certain emotions, right? How bizarre is that? Or how bizarre, but also totally logical is that? And because this is something that, funny enough, it was Sadhguru who pointed out just several months ago. I think it was one of his books I was reading. He was talking about, the full moon just enhances what's already there. And so I was like, okay, this is actually, more true than I would like to admit, perhaps. But then what happened then in my mind as I sat with that was that I started to go almost like back in time. It's like my mind, because my impulse is always to ascribe emotions or reactions to some kind of circumstance, so I go back through circumstances in my life and I think about events. I think about relationships. I'm trying to find places where it makes sense to attach these feelings. But what I found two things. One, I found that my mind would kind of go back a certain amount in time and stop. It would find a relationship or it would find an event and go, this was a real imprinting moment of this emotion. But then, by sitting with it for another couple of seconds, very quickly it became evident, oh no, wait a minute, that wasn't where this started. This was already active before this. This was this event or this relationship or whatever this moment is that I'm isolating in my mind right now was really just a kind of marker of something that was already an ongoing process. It wasn't like this is where it started. So then my mind would go back even further, continue traveling back. And before I know it, I'm kind of going back into the Ur print that is me, and realizing this is a continuum. This is not like, this isn't just some feelings. This isn't just some emotions. This is a deep imprint. And so that was one aspect of what I realized by kind of like letting my mind sort of like go through. I mean, we're talking all the way back to childhood, all the way back to early childhood, feeling what the and essentially really not finding a place to hold, to anchor that feeling, to say this is where it came from. And it makes me wonder whether there is such a thing in my life. There very well may be, and it was just happened so early that I can't consciously remember it. But it also may be karma that I have carried in, right? I find that as logical of an explanation as anything else. So that was one kind of aspect of this door opening, in a way. The other aspect, though, is that as I thought back and as I sort of like reflected on my past, my history, I started to recognize that this kind of like heavy feeling, sadness feeling that I'm talking about, was never felt like the real me, the authentic me. And I realized I've had a kind of very robust, ironclad faith and trust in the ultimate joyousness, abundance, infinite potential, infinite kind of positivity of life. That has always been there. It's just like an inborn, I guess, but probably also somewhat nurtured, nature, nurture, who knows? But it feels like it's something essential to me, and that's been there. And so then I was like, oh, and so then I kind of rifled back forward in time and back again, kind of crossing the territory, with this kind of heaviness that I had just traversed by in tracing this heaviness. And I realized, wow, look, at every single moment along the way, there's been a substrate of light underneath it. How amazing is that to see? Is that a pattern too? Is that just another pattern? Is that something that is in some way, it feels in some ways more fundamental, even more like real. And so the another kind of outgrowth of all this, and I'm still sitting with it because it literally happened a couple hours ago, but one of the other outgrowths is I started to look at the people that I gravitate towards, and even if I don't feel like attracted to those people, even if I don't feel like, oh, that's somebody I'm trying to draw into my life, they are drawn into my life in the form of students, in the form of friendships and acquaintances, in the form of professional colleagues. They're the people who end up in my life. So I can say I'm consciously attracting them or not, but they are attracted to me. They are. I seem to somehow exert gravity upon them, and a lot of them have what I would say is a kind of similar inclination, and it's almost like I have felt very consciously certain points along the way, that my mission is to work with this somehow. Somehow, this heaviness, sadness, and when I then think about, the way that artists used to be described as being melancholia, the melancholia of the artist, the kind of melancholy of the artist, the sadness, the inexplicable sadness that was for a long time considered to be kind of a hallmark of the artist. Now, I'm not convinced that you have to be that is necessarily accurate, but there's some historical, precedent to suggest that is a perception that has been consistent about artists. So, one of the things that I have consistently been compelled to do is to, when that energy enters my life, I want to give it like a balm, like a healing balm, a healing energy. And it's something that I've found myself doing for a long time. It was not something that I did professionally. It was just something that kind of happened in my relationships. And then I think as I've grown more conscious of who I am and more objective, more capable of really working with the stuff of this emotion as opposed to simply feeling it, and reacting to it, it's become something that now I again, I've talked about doing creative coaching, working with people who are hoping to create a practice, a lifestyle, a career that involves a lot of that kind of work. And so no wonder I'm attracted to people like that, or no wonder I attract them, that those are the people who are drawn to me. It has a kind of remarkable logic to it when I really sit back and just kind of and watch, and don't try to change anything, at least not right away. At least I don't want to go, well, I don't want to be a sad person. I want to be a meditative person. So I want the full moon to make me feel more and more meditative. That's a great desire, but what's really happening there? I'm wishing that I were something I'm not. I'm wishing that my experience were something other than what it is. That in and of itself is the opposite of meditativeness. That's the idea that, I want to be sitting on a cloud feeling blissful, and I want the full moon to make me like levitate up off the cloud another inch or two with enhanced enlightenment. But that's completely mind formulated notion of what enlightenment is. Actually, this is the work that I'm doing, and there's value there. There are beneficiaries there. What if we make it okay first, and then see how much needs to change? So that's where I've landed. It's a very fresh experience, and it's I know that I'm going to be coming back to this and going over the territory and kind of processing it for a while. But it was really powerful. And again, 2 full moons in a row, bam, just like clockwork. I'm like, okay, hard to deny. I think I'm supposed to pick up on this. So yeah, that's where I have arrived on today, Wednesday, December 7th, full moon here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's the message that's coming through. More soon, I'm sure. Thanks for watching, people. Much love. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.